Alexander and you are watching Jan Studio. Today our topic is most important places in Ganja city. Ganja is the second largest city in Azerbaijan. You will be found here a lot of historic places. Ganja, the second largest city in Azerbaijan, is in the northwestern part of the country. Because it's a little out of the way from the typical Caucasus backpacking trail, I didn't see any obviously Western tourists during my time in the city. It's the kind of place that is perfect for tourists with a solid tourism infrastructure and a plethora of interesting sites with a little something for everyone. From staying in an old Soviet hotel to visiting an important Islamic pilgrimage site, there are many places to see and things to do in Ganja, Azerbaijan. In addition, I've added a short travel guide with places to stay in Ganja, where we ate and loved, plus transportation and Ganja travel tips. There are 18 places to visit in Ganja. 1. Haydar Aliyev Square. Since our hotel was directly across from Haydar Aliyev Square, I spent a long time looking at the beautiful city square. During the Soviet era, it was adorned with a giant statue of Vladimir Lenin, renamed Haydar Aliyev Square after former President Haydar Aliyev. This square is still flanked by obviously Soviet buildings along with a statue of Aliyev. This square is a great place to start a self-guided walking tour of the city. 2. Ganja City Hall. The main building on Haydar Aliyev Square. This building is an example of socialist classicism, also known as Stalinist Empire architecture. The facade is composed of beautiful arches and grand doorways. Look closely at the details on the doorways. You can tell that Soviet symbols have been removed and replaced with Azerbaijani national symbols, but there are many Soviet motifs left. There is a twin of this building in Tbilisi. 3. Shah Abbas Mosque. The Juma Mosque, the city's central mosque, also known as the Friday Mosque, is a red brick and stained glass named after Shah Abbas the Great. Originally built in 1606, the minarets were added in 1776 and they underwent reconstruction projects in 1910 and 2004. Chokat Baths, Turkish bath house. Traditionally this served as a Turkish bath on Shah Abbas Square across from the mosque. Now it is an artisan shop since the plumbing was damaged during the Soviet era. I enjoyed walking around the building and taking photographs, but I didn't go inside. 5. Javad Khan Mausoleum. Javad Khan was the last of the rules of the Ganja Khanate who served from 1786 to 1804. He died in battle fighting the Russians during the Russo-Persian War. And he is considered a national hero of Azerbaijan. His grave was accidentally rediscovered during a Soviet-era construction project and the current mausoleum was built in 2005. It was locked while we were there, but you can see the tomb inside through the stained glass windows. 6. Ganja Philharmonic. One of the newest additions to Ganja, current President Ilham Aliyev inaugurated the building in late 2017. Although new, I was completely captivated by its grandiose and delicate architecture, with its green roofs and golden decorations. I didn't realize it wasn't from the 19th century until I researched more about it back in my hotel room after visiting. Since it sits on Shah Abbas Square, it is impossible to miss. 7. Shah Abbas Caravansary. One of the oldest examples of Islamic architecture, the 17th century caravansary was where visitors stayed when they came to the city. Across the street from Haydar Aliyev Square and the Ganja Hotel, it's tucked next door to Epika Bagi. It was under reconstruction while we were there. but it's worth a walk by to understand the layout of the city in the early 1600s. 8. Alexander Nevsky Church. Readers of this website know I'm obsessed with visiting houses of worship in general, and Orthodox monasteries and churches in particular. This Russian Orthodox Church was built in 1887 during Russia's occupation of Azerbaijan. During the early part of the USSR, the church was closed down and turned into various secular institutions. But it was reopened as a church in 1946. Important to note, while I absolutely loved seeing it, this was the first Orthodox church I visited that seemed to actively discourage tourists. The etiquette for visiting Orthodox churches varies widely depending on where you are, but this one was the strictest I've seen to date. Also, when we walked up to the church, a woman came outside and locked the gate to the yard to keep us out, and while we were inside the church she came up to me to yell at me about the headscarf, which I hadn't realized was a rule there. She then physically pulled me over to the rules list at the front of the church, pointed to each individually, and then took me back outside. I'm not sure what her role at the church was since we spoke no common languages and this conversation was entirely in Azeri and body language. I still believe that it's a gorgeous church and one should walk the block over from Haydar Aliyev Square to see it. Just make sure to have a scarf on you and check the rules by the door when you enter. 9. The Bottle House near Alexander Nevsky. This house is a work of art and a huge point of pride for Ganja residents. It's also a touching memorial. The artist, Ibrahim Jafarov, decorated the house with nearly 50,000 glass bottles. Under the eaves of the house, he included a portrait of his brother Yusif, a Red Army soldier who never returned from World War II. Yusif never returned from World War II. He didn't die as the family received a mysterious letter from him in 1957 but has received no word since. The prominently painted word, Zhedem, means, "We wait for you, War II." 10. Javad Khan Street. Javad Khan Street is lined with buildings from the Russian Empire era of Ganja history. A pedestrian shopping street, it's a focal point of the city. I didn't visit myself, but my friend went to a London cafe and walked the street. She said it was lovely, and I would have visited if my laptop had been charged. Alas, it was dead, so I skipped the cafe to work from my hotel. 11. Khan Baghi Park. Khan's Garden, Khan Baghi, a lush park in the middle of the city near the other major landmarks. This city was initially created as a garden during the Ganja Khanate, and it was kept up during the Russian Empire and known as Sadar's Garden. It's a great place to unwind and appreciate green space in the city. There is a piece of the Ganja fortress near the entrance. 12. Nizami's Mausoleum. Azerbaijan has famous ancient mausoleums seemingly everywhere, but Nizami's Mausoleum is a modern one built of granite. Its current version was built in 1991, replacing a Soviet-era one from 1947, which in turn replaced a mausoleum that had been continually rebuilt and reimagined since the 1300s. While it's needed rebuilding and refurbishing, it's remained an important place of pilgrimage for Azeris, who come to pay homage to the legacy of Azerbaijan's most famous poet, Nizami Ganjavi. After seeing historic mausoleums in Nakhchivan, it was great to see a modern take on the architectural form. From the outside, the building is more imposing than its ancient cousins, and inside it is decorated with traditional Azeri stained glass artwork in a minimalist design. The park has fountains and statues depicting scenes from Nizami's poetry, located outside of the city. We visited on our way back from Lake Boygol, but if you want to come from the city center, I suggest combining it with a visit to Haydar Aliyev Park. 13. Haydar Aliyev Park, the largest park in the Caucasus. Haydar Aliyev Park is a grand space with monumental architecture. This park is capped with its Arch of Triumph, inspired by the Arc de Triomphe and the triumphal arches of ancient Rome. When we visited, it was lively, with young families and couples coming to enjoy the snack stands and walk up and down the procession way. While I didn't have the opportunity to visit at night, it is a great place for night photography, and the pics I have seen of it at nighttime are stunning. 14. Ganja Mall, across the street from the Philharmonic and the Shah Abbas Mosque. The Ganja Mall is a new complex that is great for both locals and tourists who want to relax and do a bit of mall shopping. Or mall drinking, which is my personal preference. 15. Nizami Ganjavi Ganja State History Ethnography Museum. Ganja State History Ethnography Museum was established in 1924. An active group of professors and students of Ganja Seminary, Jafarzada I, Sayedov S, Rafabiov J, Malakov F, and others played an important role in the foundation process. In the early years, the museum had two departments, ethnography and agriculture, with more than 500 exhibits. In 1954, Ganja Museum was moved to the address of Azizbekov 260, where the museum consisted of 7 large halls and 3 departments: natural science, pre-revolution, and Soviet period. In 1961, Gogol and Ganja museums were consolidated. The current building of the museum was put into use as a museum in 1972. 16. Nizami Ganjavi Museum. This museum is across the street from the Nizami Mausoleum. We skipped a visit since we were running short on time, but there are specific areas for tourists to relax. It opened in 2014 to help tourists learn about Nizami while they visit, and it also includes a research wing and a library. 17. Imamzadeh Mausoleum. Ibrahim S. O. Imam Bachir. The construction of the Imamzadeh Mausoleum in the city of Ganja in Azerbaijan was implemented in the 8th century. According to the inscription found inside the mausoleum, the sons of Muhammad al-Bachir, who is considered one of the most sacred personalities of Shiite Islam, left their motherland and moved to Azerbaijan and Iran in order to escape from the ruling circles of the Umayyad Caliphate, 661 to 750, who carried out the persecution against the representatives of the Prophet of Islam. Imam Ibrahim and Ismail came to the cities of Azerbaijan, Barda, and Ganja. But here they were killed by their enemies. Mausoleums were erected on the graves of Imam Ismail in Barda, and Imam Ibrahim in Ganja. The inscription is composed of a small marble plaque on the first floor of the Imamzadeh tomb. 18. Flag Square. Azerbaijan likes to proudly raise its flags while pushing the definition of a giant flagpole to the next level. Ganja's Flag Square, in the same way as Baku's, has a gigantic pole soaring 70 meters, 300 feet, into the air.
मेरी वीडियो
The
अगर
nearby
पसंद आई है
plaque
तो
contains
उसको
a
लाइक
marble
और शेयर जरूर
emblem of
कीजिएगा,
Azerbaijan,
कमेंट भी
not
कीजिएगा।
necessarily one of the most important things to do in
इजाज़त चाहते
Ganja,
हैं खास
but
और
worth
हरियाली से।
visiting for a
अल्लाह पामा।
photograph.